Hey everybody, welcome back to Castle. So it's just about to be Jen's turn, and let's got to figure out what she's going to do. Now, she's got this enchanter. It would be great, you know, it sends back the last card played. I just played a card, but now would be a terrible time to do it because the last card played was the dragon. If this gets sent back to my hand, I get to play it again and I can knock out Jen's other soldier. So now is not a good time to do that. She wants to wait until I played a fairly innocuous card that, you know, she doesn't mind if I play it 2 times in a row to use her enchanter. Let's see. Now this is actually interesting. One thing she could do is, I think she will play her own assassin. She'll put it in the courtyard, she marks it. And now what the assassin does is permanently remove from the game a card adjacent space. So Jen is going to assassinate her own lady-in-waiting. And what that means is the lady-in-waiting can never be returned to her hand. So Jen's not in any danger of getting this thing back. All right, so she played an assassin. That was her first action. Let's see, and so she could just get another soldier out and start working on soldiers again. There's a real danger. There's a very much a push your luck element to this game. Soldiers are incredibly easy. You just put them on the wall, easy peasy. But if you have a lot of soldiers on the wall and then all 4 siege engines come out, you lose them all, and that could be devastating. But if you think you can keep control, if you have a lot of soldiers, you can keep playing soldiers and pushing off the siege engine and keep pushing them back. It's even more interesting with more players because maybe there's like 2 players that are invested in keeping the siege engines away and 2 other players that are invested in keeping the siege engines in play. And so you have a really interesting tug of war. And yeah. Jen's got 1 soldier invested, I've got none. Now, instead of trying to play a soldier by putting on a wall, which could be dangerous because it might come back in your hand, you could always just get rid of a soldier and swap it with something in the exchange. Maybe Jen wants to get out of the soldiering business. Although she's got this traitor, so she wants to wait until I put out at least 1 more soldier, not protected by a knight, so that she could put the traitor on the same wall, and then that traitor will backstab her soldier, or will backstab one of my soldiers. So that's an interesting situation. So it's like Jen wants to put out 1 more soldier in the hopes that, you know, I'll feel safe putting out soldiers too, but then, you know, Jen puts out a traitor instead. But the interesting thing is, if she put a soldier here and then I put a soldier here, there'd be no room for her traitor. So she really needs to like kind of start on another wall, kind of enticing me in, and then, you know, the last one I put in, boom, I put a traitor down and it stabs Jen in the back. Or, you know, she stabs me in the back. Or she could get out of the soldier game by swapping a soldier away for the prince, or a siege engine, well, you know, or the priest who can protect other cards, etc., etc. That's actually interesting. You know, let's say Jen, she originally was going to go for soldiers, but now that I've kind of pushed her away from that, she's going to give up on it. First thing she's going to do her second thing. First thing was she played the assassin. Second thing she's going to do is she is going to swap in the exchange, giving up a soldier to get a priest. And now a priest can protect her other cards. And at the end of her turn, we reveal another card, and so there's another soldier. My turn now. Let's see, what am I going to do? Alrighty. I will go on ahead and draw another card. There's another soldier. And so, here's 2 of the siege engines. I know Jen has 1 because I sent it away with my dragon. I know there's 1 more there, and there's still a 5th siege engine someplace in the game. And having control of the siege engines gives you control over when it's safe to play soldiers or not, up to a point. Let's see here. But if it's all, I've drawn 1 card, I cannot draw another. It's all about playing cards as fast as you can. And I don't want to play the king unless, you know, in case Jen plays the minstrel first. So I'm in this waiting game. I don't want to play this. Although, you know, even still, I do get to send back a card of my choosing. So I could send back another of Jen's soldier cards. And if the mistress is in play, it's controlling player. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe Jen doesn't even have the mistress. Maybe the mistress is buried down in my own deck somewhere. And playing this, I could send Jen's assassin back, but that would be good for her because then she could use it to assassinate another one of her characters. So I don't want her to get her assassin back, but I could make her lose her other soldier. Oh no, but you can only send, the king can order anybody back. So what the heck, I'm going to play the king, and I'll go on ahead and put it next to the assassin because he's a lonely king. And the king can send back a card of his choosing. I will send back Jen's soldier. All right, so those are my 2 actions. I drew a card and then I played a card. All right. And now it's Jen's turn. And Jen's very happy she waited because boom, here is, although actually the mistress isn't that powerful, the mistress can force the king to be moved. So, you know, the king is out. Jen might, you know, take advantage of that. Also, there are certain characters when placed in the courtyard that have to be played you know, within certain restrictions. Like remember, Jen's ambassador has to be played on the last 3 phase. The courtyard I'm sorry, the mistress cannot be played if the queen is in play. So, Jen does have a reason to want to get this mistress out, because if the queen comes out, then Jen can't play the mistress anymore. And there's other characters who may be, the Prince Charming has to be placed adjacent to a princess. So he can't come out unless the princess is already out, as an example. I think that's right? Yeah, it must be placed adjacent. So I can't get Prince Charming out until I find the princess. Although I could get the regular prince out. But anyway, so what was it? I played the king. All right, so it's Jen's turn. Let's see. So now she's got more soldiers. She could just keep dumping soldiers into the exchange to get different things. But I think what she's going to do is she is going to play the priest. She's playing 2 cards. She plays the priest. That is hers. And the priest protects cards in adjacent spaces which have tokens. Actually, let's have her put the priest over here. This makes a little bit more sense. So now the priest is protecting the assassin. So I can't send back the assassin anymore because the priest is protecting it. And Jen's second one, what the heck? She will go on ahead and play the mistress. And she'll put it over here next to the king. And so the mistress and the assassin are now protected by the priest. So Jen is making a bulwark. It's going to be harder for me to send these cards back to her hand. And the mistress also has the option of forcing the king to move. And could force a knight to move. Let's see. So, the mistress, I've got this knight protecting my soldier. Jen will go on ahead and force the knight to move. And she will force the mistress, sweet talks my knight, to protect Jen's priest. So look at that. My own knight is protecting Jen priest because he was the mistress talked him into it. So Jen's got a really nice. I'd have to destroy my own knight to get rid of her priest so that her assassin and her mistress wouldn't be protected. That's pretty clever. All right, and she could also make the king move if she wanted. Right now, there's not a particular reason to do it, but what the heck? Let's go on ahead and do it. Let's put the king over here just because she can. Because that means there's now another space. So Jen has another space where she could put her own characters adjacent to the priest and they'd be protected. So it was worthwhile moving the king away so there's more protection around this priest, who in turn is protected by my knight. Oh, wow. So that was a clever move. Okay, so those are Jen's 2 moves. We reveal another card. There's another soldier. A lot of soldiers in display, and now it's my turn. Okay. Right, so I could use my own black knight to send back my knight so Jen's priest isn't protected anymore, but then I'd have to, so I'd be slowing myself down. Prince Charming can't come out unless there's a princess. I could start putting siege engines out just to get rid of them, although I'd really rather do it if Jen, although now that Jen is dumping soldiers into the exchange, I think it's pretty obvious that Jen is given up on trying to put soldiers on the wall. So what the heck, I'm just going to get rid of cards. I'm just going to put a siege engine out. And another siege engine. Only 1 siege engine per wall, although with the deluxe version of the rules, 2 siege engines can go on each wall, because the rules change with the battering rams and stuff like that. So I just got rid of 2 siege engines, and since Jen is just getting rid of soldiers, I know it's safe for me to put my siege engines out, because she won't destroy them with her soldiers. I've got my own soldier, but I'm not going to, as long as this wall doesn't get completely filled up with soldiers, my siege engine is safe. So that's really interesting. Right, and now I'm down to 4 cards in my hand, and still a bunch in my deck though, so that was my turn. We reveal another card, and it's another knight to protect something, and now it's Jen's turn. Let's see, she hasn't been drawing cards much. Or actually, is there something she wants to do? I think she will. She will go on ahead now and play her enchanter, and so that goes out into the forest. And it calls back the most recently played thing, which was my siege engine. So my siege engine went back to my hand. Right, so that was Jen's first move. And now for a second move, she hasn't drawn any cards. I think she'll draw one. And she has the King's Counselor, who plays a card from the exchange onto the board. No token is played, but you can do the power. So when Jen plays the Counselor, she can effectively immediately activate the power of any of these cards. Ooh, that's nice. I think that's going to be a good combo next turn. Okay, so there we go. Back to me, back to my turn. Okay, 4 cards in my hand. I'm going to draw a card. All right, there's the courtier. The courtier. The courtier sends back a card from an adjacent space. Although, unfortunately, I cannot send back these cards of Jen's because they're all protected by that priest. Let's see here. So, now I believe I could use the courtier to send back my own knight so Jen's priest isn't protected, but I'd probably use my black knight first to get my knight back, and then yeah, that's actually not bad. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's punch a hole in Jen's little network there. So I'm going to play my black knight. which sends an adjacent knight back, so I got my adjacent knight back. And then I'll play the courtier, and he sends back a card from an adjacent space. Now, although actually what that means is Jen's just going to put the priest right back out, and all these things will be protected again. So I really want to do this in a, I want to play, no, okay, so I'm not going to play the courtier yet. I'll wait till next turn so I can play and then fill another thing right in that spot, since I know Jen's going to get that power back. So I placed the black knight, got my own knight back, and now I could just put the knight back into protection of the service of my own people, but I'll just go ahead and put the siege engine out. All right, there we go. And the last, so now the entire exchange, oh, there's the queen. Now the queen is adjacent to the king if he's in play, otherwise anywhere you like. So if the queen gets played, it has to come next to the king, and the king sends back a card from anywhere in the courtyard. She's just powerful as the king, except if the king's out, she wants to, oh, and also the queen, if she had been out, the mistress could not have been played. So that's really interesting. If I get the queen out into play and it's mine, and then I send Jen's mistress back, she won't be able to play the mistress anymore because the queen is on the scene. All right, anyway, so we'll see what happens. So those are my 2 turns. Now it's Jen's turn. She's going to draw another card, and she's got the conspirator. The conspirator must exchange the tokens of any 2 cards, these not be adjacent. So Jen can swap ownership of cards. That's pretty cool. So Jen could take ownership of the king or what have you. So, but that might be a bit more interesting later. What does Jen want to do right now? I see, since I'm not protecting the knight, I think Jen is going to put a knight and she's going to protect her priest again. I'm like, darn it! Oh, I should have struck while the iron was hot. So the priest is once again protected. And so, yeah. And then Jen, for a second, she's going to play another card. She's going to, the king's counselor, who is adjacent to the priest, so it's protected by the priest. And his power is call a card from the exchange, put it into play on the board. No token is placed on it, so nobody owns that new card, as it says. Too close. But do that power. So Jen is going to, using the king's counselor, she's going to summon from the exchange the ghost. The ghost has to get played into an occupied tower. There's only one occupied tower. It's going to get placed over here in the magician, and Jen summoned the ghost, but it's not hers. So if the ghost gets sent away, it doesn't belong to her. It just goes back to the exchange. But in the meantime, she has sent away my magician. All right. All right. So there we go. Okay, so that was pretty nice for Jen. Now it's back to me, back to my turn. And so now, the priest is protected again by Jen's own knight. Crap. Alrighty. Well, I still want to get the queen so that because if I send the mistress out, then it can't come out again. But now the mistress is protected by the priest, and I can't get rid of the priest anymore using, who was I going to use? I forgot what I was going to do about that. Although the magician sends a card from anywhere on the board to exchange. So I got the magician back. I can use the magician to basically banish Jen's knight, and then the priest isn't protected anymore. Nice. Okay, let's do that. So the magician comes back out, just in another tower, and will send this knight away to the exchange. Nobody owns it, and so now the priest is once again unprotected. And I can play the courtier, but I'm not going to do that yet because I want to be able to fill that space in, so I'm just going to do something else in the meantime. I'll just play a soldier because I'm really not worried about siege engine soldier race if I control everything. So there we go. Oops, there we go. All right. That's my turn. Now it's Jen's turn. Let's see here. Now then, I was so confident and casual about the siege engines. Jen could take advantage of that. Jen's got a siege engine, which I've totally forgotten about. There's another siege engine there. And so my 2 soldiers could be in danger now. Although, on the flip side, yeah. So Jen still got a soldier and 1 traitor. If I put 1 more soldier down, then Jen could soldier traitor and then stab one of my soldiers in the back. In fact, maybe she'll just kind of casually do this to indicate that she's still kind of interested in the soldier game. So that's her first action. And then she'll wait until I put another soldier down here, and then boom, out comes the traitor. All right, so that's 1 action, and then 2, she'll just draw another card. Because you got to get these cards drawn, or because we got to get all the cards out of this deck into our hands so we can play them as well. So that was it. Jen drew a card, she played a card, and she has the witch. The witch sends back a card from the exchange to the hand of a player. So basically, Jen plays the witch into a tower. She can force any of those cards into my hand, thereby slowing me down. But on the flip side, giving me a special power. Okay, my turn. Now, finally, I'm going to do it. I am going to play the courtier, the courtier, sends back a card from an adjacent space. The priest is adjacent. The priest goes back to Jen's hand. Now I know the priest can come right back out and protect, but the courtier's other, right, so that was my first action. And then my second action is I'm going to play the minstrel. Now I'll put it right here, let's say. The minstrel rearranges, as he chooses, any adjacent cards in the courtyard. So I will send Jen's other cards far away from each other so that when Jen plays the priest, I mean, all of Jen's cards are far to the far side, so the priest can't protect anybody anymore because they're all spread out. So that was a pretty nice one, too. All right, so there we go. So that was cool. Now it's Jen's turn again, and so she wants to get her priest out, but she has to start protecting them all over again. And the priest is ideally suited in the center because he can be surrounded by more people, but now I'm starting to occupy the center. So if Jen puts the priest down here, he can't protect as many people. All right, although, let's see. So what is Jen gonna do? So she's hoping I play another. She can also see I've only got 2 cards in my hand, but I've still got to go through my deck. See, I think Jen first also just draw another card, the princess. The princess can move a knight, although there are no knights in play anymore. They've all been kind of, manipulated. But Jen can, if I get a, so Jen will want to hold on to this. If I ever put a knight in some place to protect someone of mine, Jen can use the princess to move that knight because she's lovely. So, now she can't draw another card. She can do an exchange. She can't play the ambassador because it has to be the last thing into the courtyard. Conspirator must exchange the tokens on any 2 cards. Now that's nice. The conspirator plus the priest could make these cards in the center suddenly belong to Jen, and the cards on the outside belong to me, and then her conspirator. Okay, so that's going to be a nice 1-2 combo in the next turn. In the meantime, what is she going to do? She could just do the witch just to throw another card my way. Yeah, in fact, actually that's what she'll do. She's going to play the witch, and it has to go into a tower. And that sends a card. She'll send a soldier over to me, hoping that I will play the soldier. Although, she knows I don't want to play a soldier. That's the problem. She knows I don't want to play a soldier here because then it'll send my siege engine back. So that's interesting. All right, well, we'll see about that. Okay, so she forced a soldier on me, so I'm slowed down again. Those were her 2 turns. Right, she drew and then she played the witch. Next turn, it's going to be conspirator and the priest are going to work together. All right, and the princess is still on deck. All right, so I'm going to, let's see. So I know if I put a soldier here and then Jen puts a soldier, then boom, my siege engine gets sent back. So that's not good. I don't want to do that. But I could put the soldier over here. There's no siege engine I'm worried about protecting over there. All right, what the heck, I'll just go on ahead and do that. And I could put my knight somewhere and I could protect somebody. And Prince Charming cannot come out until there's a princess, and no princesses have appeared yet. So I think my other action, I'll just draw a card. And there's another siege engine. Wow, does that mean I know where they all are? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the only thing I don't know, and I know Jen has the other one, so I know where all the siege engines are now. Okay, so that was it. Now Jen's turn. Here we go. First, Jen is going to start a conspiracy. She will put it right here. She has to mark it as her own. The conspirator must exchange the tokens on any 2 cards. These need not be adjacent to the conspirator. So Jen is going to exchange these 2 tokens with these 2 tokens. And then she's going to play the priest. And suddenly, all of her cards are protected by the priest once again, thanks to the timely intervention of the conspirator. Actually, wait. So this was white. So she actually should have left this white and done this. And then, wow, she's got a huge block of protected characters with that priest at the center. That's pretty nice. Okay, so Jen's pretty happy with that. That was a nice one too. That was a big, she's very, very protected. And now it's my turn. What am I gonna do? I'll draw a card. Another soldier. I can't draw any more. And that priest is a problem again. I need to get rid of him. Now, is there anybody in the exchange who can get rid of him? Well, yes, the queen could. But all the queen will do is just send the priest back to her hand, and then she can get the priest back into play again. But at the very least, if I do the queen first, send the priest back, and then fill the hole, then when Jen gets the priest out, it won't be in as quite a, because this is a perfect spot for the priest. So, I drew a card, and I think I'm going to exchange card. I'm going to give up this soldier and take the queen. And Jen can see it. Jen knows I have the queen now. And Jen can intuit I'm probably planning on using that queen to send away her priest. All right, so now it's Jen's turn. Let's see. And now she would really like to protect that priest. And she can. Jen's going to do a swap-a-do. She is going to swap the ambassador, who, remember, is a really tough guy. He's protected from anything. No one can harm the ambassador, but he's hard to get rid of because the courtyard has to be full, and he has to be the last guy in the courtyard. So Jen's going to get rid of the courtyard, or the ambassador, to get a knight. And then her second action is she's going to play the knight on this priest. And so her priest is once again protected, and I'm too late. See, I tipped my hand. I should have started my turn getting the queen and then used the queen to get him out of the way. Oh, but I couldn't because then all my turns would have been used up and I wouldn't have, right. So, c'est la vie. So, my turn again. What am I going to do? So, that block of Jen's is all the more tied up. Let's see here. What else do I want to do? Is there anything over here? I could force a soldier to move. Siege engines, another knight. Let's just draw a card, because I got to get, let's see. Ooh, the Alchemist. He forces you to immediately exchange 2 of the cards in your hand for 2 in the exchange. So, this would have been a much better way to get the queen into my hand with, oh well. Right, so, I better keep playing cards, because I want to keep up. I think I'm still in the lead, overall. Let's see here. Although, that's just going to be hard to punch into Jen. I still can't play the prince, because the princess hasn't come out, and I don't know. Jen's actually sitting on the princess, waiting until I put a knight into play so that she can use it, etc., etc. That's interesting. If I want that princess to come out, if I think Jen's got it, I could play a knight specifically to lure the princess out so that I could get Prince Charming played. Let's see here. Now then, I could also, I am a little bit worried about these siege engines as well, because there's 2 out. If 2 more come out, then my soldiers will go home. And on the flip side, my siege engine, I'm playing a really dangerous game, trying to keep, now if I take this siege engine back, then I know that where 2 of and I know Jen can't hit me, and I can wait until later, wait till the time's right, just at the last minute try and dump siege engines from my hand, out to the exchange. It's so dangerous though. The soldiers are in real trouble. I don't know how this came about. At least if Jen would lose a soldier, but I would lose 3 soldiers if the siege engine is overrun. So I don't think I want to do that. So really, it does behoove Jen to try and get the siege engines into play. And because she hasn't grabbed that siege engine, I think I better grab it. So, and Prince Charming, he might be really tough to get rid of. I'm just going to get rid of him, and I'm going to grab another siege engine. All right, so that's my, all right, I drew, and I did a swap. All right, and so now I know soldiers can't be hurt because there's one more siege engine somewhere. Wherever it is, it's not enough. So that's it, okay. So that was my turn. Jen's turn. Let's see here. Now she knows where Prince Charming is. Let's see, but let's have her just draw a card, a soldier and a traitor. So once again, the battle of wits over soldiers, because there are more soldiers than anything else in the game. And so Jen, she either has to get rid of these soldiers by putting them on the wall, in which case they're in just as much danger as mine from the siege engines, or she has to put them over here in the exchange. And she's been doing that up till now, so I think she'll continue to do that. She drew a card, and then she'll get rid of a soldier to get Prince Charming, who will work well with the princess. All right, so that's Jen's turn. And I can see she is just continuing to dump soldiers. All right, so my turn. Forces you to immediately exchange 2 of the cards in my hand for 2 from the exchange. So I can get rid of 2 cards and grab 2 from the exchange if I want. Like I could grab that knight and the prince. And, right, but I don't want to put these things in the exchange because that's really kind of dangerous. Because if I give those siege engines out, Jen can use them to hit my soldiers. But the interesting, right, well, first of all, let's just go ahead and draw a card. The Thief. The Thief removes a token from a card on an adjacent space. Oh, now that's interesting. Wow. Okay, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to play the Thief. And I'll go ahead and play him over here. Now, protection, this knight is protecting Jen's, bishop or whatever he is, the priest, who is protecting all these adjacent characters. Protection only protects against sending back, assassination, and one other thing. But it doesn't protect from allegiance swaps. The priest right now is loyal to Jen. Protects, all right. Yeah, protected characters can't be moved, sent back, or assassinated, but protected characters can still have their disc swapped. So I played the thief, and that means remove the token from adjacent space. I'm going to remove the token from this priest because protection doesn't protect against that. And now the priest doesn't belong to Jen, so he is no longer protecting any of these characters next, even though he's still protected by my knight, so none of Jen's characters are protected. That was pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now all of these characters can get sent back, by my queen. I could get rid of them, one by one, etc., etc. All right, so I drew and then I played, so that's pretty good. Jen, she's going to draw the archer. The archer sends back a card from outside the castle. That's just a quick, nice, and easy one. Oh, that's interesting. Because the only characters outside the castle, Jen could send back my dragon. But doing that, the dragon's very powerful. If she does it, she knows I'll probably just play the dragon again and get rid of her soldier and her enchanter. But she could also use the archer to send back one of these siege engines. Yeah, what the heck, she's going to do it. Her first she drew, and then she will play an archer. And the archer shoots and sends back a card from outside the castle. We'll send back this siege engine. Okay. And now, in having done that, Jen has made it more attractive for this to be a place for me to put my soldiers because, let's see, because it's safe for me to put out soldiers now because there are fewer siege engines on the board. And she's still just waiting for me to put out one more soldier, so boom, she can lay her traitor and send one back. Although, unbeknownst to her, I don't have any soldiers. I've gotten rid of all of them. All right, so anyway, so Jen drew and she sent it back. Now it's my turn again. So I've got these siege engines that'll kill my soldiers. And see, I've got to get rid of them eventually. And there's two ways I could get rid of them. I could play them to the board, which means my soldiers could be in danger, or I could put them in the exchange, which means Jen could grab them, and then she could put my soldiers in danger, although it would take her a while. But the ace I've got in my sleeve is my alchemist. Anytime I want, when I play him, boom, two of these siege engines could go away. So I could make a really fast play at the end of the game to get rid of these siege engines and get the rest of my stuff played before Jen has a chance to send all my soldiers back. So that's actually pretty nice. So, if I were to think about that, what do I want to do this turn? Well, I think I just want to draw, so I know what my options are. Hey, here's another soldier. And you know what? In the meantime, I will go on ahead and get it played, just because I'm, as always. So, there we go. All right, and that's what Jen's been waiting for. She's been waiting forever. Finally, she plays her traitor. All right. And now, whenever a rampart gets completely full of soldiers, if there was a siege engine there, it gets sent back. But it doesn't matter because there isn't one. But the traitor is an extra thing. The siege engine gets sent back, and an adjacent card gets sent back as well. So this traitor just stabbed me in the back. So Jen finally got good use of her traitor. And now for her second action, what is she going to do? Let's see. Well, I guess she'll play the princess. And she can put it any place in the courtyard. And the princess's power is moves a knight. Now there's this knight of mine protecting a character Jen doesn't care about anymore. So she figures she might as well move my knight to protect somebody else. This knight is, first he was swayed by the mistress. Now he's getting swayed by the princess. So Jen wants to protect somebody of hers. So that's one less she would worry about having to lose. She'll actually have the princess come over here. The knight will protect princess. There we go. So that princess is protected by that knight because that knight, Jen doesn't really care about protecting that priest anymore because it doesn't belong to her. So that was pretty nice. So that was Jen's 1-2. All right, my turn. I'll draw a card. There's the merchant. The merchant sells you, now this is super powerful, a third action. Now this could be it. This plus the, I play the alchemist. That gets rid of two of my siege engines. I play the merchant. That gives me a third action. This could be the trick I need to sweep the game. So I'm definitely saving all these for an in-game thing. So I've drawn the merchant. Now what else am I going to do? Let's see. I could just go on ahead and get this soldier played again. Yeah, I'll just get him back out there. All right, so there we go. All right. So, also I've got the queen who can be used to send back any of Jen's characters since none of her characters are protected anymore. But I'll worry, except for her princess. All right, so that was it. Jen, she'll draw a card. The spy. The spy can rearrange tokens on adjacent cards any way he sees fit. So now that could be handy for Jen as well. Let's see. Like, what kind of rearrangement would she want to do? Like one interesting thing is, if Jen wants to get the rest of her soldiers off the wall, she could put the spy here, and that would let her rearrange tokens on adjacent cards. So she could take, but there's none of my tokens. If she wanted to put more of my soldiers on the wall, she could do that. She could do it like this, and that means her soldier would come off the wall, and so she could swap. So the king would belong to her, and this soldier would belong to me, and that way. But right now, she's probably kind of intuited that I can, she saw me taking siege engines, so she knows, well that means she knows she's very, what's she gonna do? All right, well she's drawn one card, she has to play something or do a swap, and swapping slows you down. If you can, you wanna play. Like for instance, Jen could go on ahead and play this siege engine now, because she knows it's safe, because the soldier, the wall's all full, this siege engine can't be hit anymore. So she'll just do that. And she's down to 2 plus 1, 2, 3, she's got 7 cards left. Me, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Jen is definitely in the lead, but she doesn't know I have the merchant, and I could make a big sweeping turn that could turn it all around. But anyway, my turn. I'll draw another card, see what I have. The barbarian. The barbarian sends back 1 card from either a tower or a rampart. So I could use that to send back Jen's archer or her witch. But I don't want her to get her archer back, because she'll just use it to, I don't know, shoot my siege engine again. The witch sends it back, and right, so sends back a card from the exchange to the, right, so I don't want either of, so yeah, the barbarian, I don't want either of those to come out, but I could use it to take out her soldier. So that's not bad. You know, and then ultimately put another soldier there, because I'm just not worried, because I'm controlling the siege engine so much. So that's really interesting. So what the heck? Oh no, but if I take the soldier out, then I won't have enough time to put another soldier in. I need to start my turn by taking Jen's soldier out and then put another soldier into position. So I think in the meantime, I will just go on ahead and get the queen played. Because this is a dangerous thing. The queen has to be next to the king if possible. There's only 2 spaces left, so I better get the queen played before I run out of opportunities to do it. So I will play the queen. Has to go adjacent to the king if he's there. If the king wasn't out, the queen could go anywhere. But now that the queen is out, she can send back anybody. Now who is she going to send back? Now, I don't want to send back to Jen something that's really going to benefit her. I want to send back something that really won't make that much of a difference. So, like, although I could send back one of my own if I wanted to get a specific power again, which could come in handy. And, you know, so now the strategies are really starting, because maybe I do want to take the King's Counselor back so I can play him and get a bonus power, so there are a lot of interesting options now. With this queen, who do I send back? Or do I just send back, Jen's minstrel? Because if she plays the minstrel again, I don't really care how she rearranges the tokens anymore. But, that's a tough choice. But you know what? It's so tough that I think the game is starting to get deep enough that I don't want you guys to have to sit here and watch me noodle on what the best move is for 3 minutes. And my arm is getting pretty tired anyway. And so I think I'm going to stop right there, because hopefully you guys have a pretty good idea of just how interesting and surprisingly deep Castle can get. And if you'd like now, you can hit the button that's on screen or follow the show notes to go to final thoughts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.